A gloomy urban scene, where neon lights flicker on wet streets after a rainstorm. The Punisher, with a cold demeanor, stands in the darkness of an alley, his sharp eyes hidden behind a jet black coat. He grips his rifle tightly, his finger hovering over the trigger, ready for any threat. Opposite, Spider-Man, in a tight red and blue suit, hangs from a glittering spider web, his eyes behind his mask, shining with alertness. This confrontation is not just a clash between two warriors, but also a battle between a human who has reached the pinnacle of human abilities and a superhero who possesses the power of the Punisher, whose real name is Frank Castle, is the embodiment of ruthlessness and determination. He is a seasoned veteran of the brutality of combat. In his mind, every bullet has a single purpose: to kill criminals. He moves with machine precision, each step sure, each shot calculated for maximum effect. His arsenal is a deadly collection of pistols, rifles, grenades, knives, and improvised explosive devices. Having participated in dangerous missions, he has trained his body and mind to near perfection within human limits. Picture him for a moment, standing on the rooftop of an abandoned building, the cold wind blowing through his short hair, his eyes scanning the horizon in search of his target. He is more than a warrior. He is the embodiment of relentless punishment. His opponent, Spider-Man, aka Peter Parker, however, is on a whole other level. Imagine a nimble being, gliding through the air like a gust of wind, his flexible body snaking between skyscrapers. His red and blue suit hugs his body, highlighting every line of his toned muscles, while the white eyes on his mask seem to be constantly observing everything around him. Spider-Man is more than just a warrior. He is a superhero with superhuman strength. His speed is so fast that the naked eye can hardly keep up. Like a red streak of light streaking through space, his strength is enough to lift objects weighing tens of tons, from an overturned bus to a section of a collapsed building. Imagine him, in a moment, grabbing a truck that is falling from a bridge, muscles tensing, webs shooting from his wrists, holding on to tons of steel to save the people below. The first thing to consider is the physical difference between the two entities. The Punisher, despite his extensive training and combat skills, is still human. He can perform incredible feats, leap across rooftops, take down dozens of enemies in a split second, and even survive battles with the likes of Daredevil, Elektra, and Wolverine. However, these feats are all within the limits of a human body. He can hit a target from hundreds of meters away, but his speed is no match for Spider-Man, who can move so fast that he can dodge bullets before they leave the barrel. Imagine a bullet flying out of the Punisher's gun, the light flashing from the barrel in the darkness. In that instant, Spider-Man, with his super-sensitive spider sense, senses danger before the bullet is fired. He leaned over, his body arching like a dancer, and the bullet just cut through the air, harmless. Spider-Man's awareness, or spider sense, is an advantage that cannot be underestimated. Imagine him standing in the middle of a chaotic battlefield, filled with smoke and dust, with gunshots ringing out from all sides. While the Punisher has to rely on experience and reflexes to locate his enemies, Spider-Man seems to have a supernatural instinct. He can sense a blade coming from behind, a bullet coming from around a blind corner, or even an impending explosion before it is triggered. Spider sense is like an invisible radar, vibrating in his mind, warning him of any danger, even if he can't see it. In a fight, this allows him to react with speed and precision that the Punisher can't match. In terms of strength, Spider-Man is completely superior. Picture this scene: Spider-Man standing in front of a thick concrete wall, his fists clenched. With a single punch, he sent entire walls crumbling, sending concrete flying like rain. Meanwhile, the Punisher, while able to use weapons to destroy structures, cannot achieve the same effect through physical strength alone. Spider-Man once lifted a section of the Daily Bugle building, estimated to weigh over 60,000 tons, in a feat that left people in awe. Imagine him, sweat rolling down his forehead, muscles tensed, holding on to massive chunks of concrete to protect those below. In contrast, the Punisher, despite his strength, can only rely on tools and weapons to achieve similar results. Spider-Man's endurance also far exceeds the Punisher's. Imagine a prolonged battle where the Punisher is constantly bombarded with machine guns, grenades, and daggers. These attacks, while powerful, are unlikely to cause serious damage to Spider-Man. His skin, while not invulnerable, can withstand blows that would knock a normal human out instantly. Meanwhile, a punch from Spider-Man can send the Punisher flying through walls, rolling on the ground, and even knocking him unconscious. Imagine the Punisher, after being hit by Spider-Man, flying through the air, his body slamming into a steel wall, leaving a large dent before falling to the ground, breathing heavily. The Punisher is a brilliant strategist, capable of planning and executing complex missions. He has faced off against opponents like Kingpin and Deadpool, using his intelligence and experience to gain an advantage. However, his intelligence is limited by his psychological damage. Imagine him, in a rare moment, sitting in a dark room, eyes blank, holding a pill to keep his mind clear. Spider-Man, on the other hand, is a true genius. Peter Parker has been compared to Reed Richards and Tony Stark in terms of intelligence. Imagine him in the lab, eyes lighting up as he solves a complex equation, or in battle, quickly analyzing his opponent's weaknesses and coming up with an instant solution. He has disabled the Iron Patriot's armor in the middle of a fight, created a jamming device in minutes, and even calculated a trajectory to fall from Earth orbit to Paris without any support equipment. The Punisher has faced many formidable opponents, from street criminals to superhumans like Wolverine and Morbius. He knows how to use the environment, turning dark alleys into his personal battlefield. However, Spider-Man has a much more diverse fighting experience. He has faced cosmic threats like Juggernaut and Firelord, a former herald of Galactus. Picture Spider-Man suspended in midair, webs wrapped tightly around Juggernaut, the giant body of his foe shaking under his power. These feats, while sometimes unbelievable, prove that Spider-Man operates on a level that the Punisher cannot reach. The Punisher carries a deep pain within him, fueled by hatred and determination to destroy crime. Imagine him standing in front of a broken mirror, his eyes reflecting loss and unquenchable anger. In contrast, Spider-Man, despite his tragic past, remains optimistic and responsible. He fights not only for himself, but for the people he loves and protects. His clear mind and quick thinking ability allow him to make the right decisions, even in the most dangerous situations. In a direct battle, the Punisher would put all his energy into attacking. Imagine him, hiding in the shadows, firing precise shots, grenades exploding, smoke and dust billowing. However, Spider-Man, with his speed and spider sense, would easily dodge every attack. He dashed through the air, webs shooting from his wrists, wrapping around the Punisher's weapons and yanking them to the ground. A punch from Spider-Man, albeit restrained, was enough to send the Punisher crashing to the ground. Imagine the Punisher, covered in bruises, trying to get up, but Spider-Man was standing over him, his eyes behind his mask determined but not hateful. He is a master tactician, able to set traps, use the environment, and exploit his opponent's weaknesses. Imagine an abandoned warehouse where the Punisher has set up explosives, tripwires, and automatic weapons. He lurks in the shadows, waiting for Spider-Man to enter. However, Spider-Man's spider sense will detect these threats before they are activated. He can jump to the ceiling, shoot webs to disable the devices, and quickly locate the Punisher. No matter how well the Punisher prepares, the difference in speed, strength, and reflexes of Spider-Man makes any plan useless. One aspect is the psychological endurance of a prolonged battle. The Punisher, with his iron will, can fight to the last breath. Imagine him, blood streaming down his face, but his eyes still unwavering, his hands still clutching his weapon. However, Spider-Man, with his superhuman endurance, can maintain a fighting state for long periods of time without tiring. He has fought continuously for hours, facing multiple enemies at once, and still maintained his composure and focus. The Punisher does not hesitate to kill. Each of his attacks is intended to kill. In contrast, Spider-Man always holds back his power, avoiding causing serious damage. However, in a fierce battle, this restraint does not reduce his effectiveness. Imagine Spider-Man, after dodging a barrage of bullets from the Punisher, shooting webs to bind his opponent, rendering him unable to move. He stands there, breathing steadily, looking at the Punisher with respect, but without mercy. Spider-Man has feats beyond the capabilities of any human. He once lifted part of the Daily Bugle building, estimated to weigh over 60,000 tons, in a critical situation. Picture the scene. A building collapses, dust billows, steel shatters, and Spider-Man, his body dwarfed by the massive pile of rubble, stands tall, his hands supporting the massive concrete block, webs shooting out everywhere to hold the structure together. He once defeated Firelord, a former herald of Galactus, a being of cosmic power. In that battle, he swam through waves of molten energy, dodged explosions at incredible speeds, and managed to take down his opponent with a combination of strength and strategy. He also once held a 150-ton locomotive, stopping it from plunging off a cliff, while his webs stretched taut like giant strings. These feats are not only a demonstration of his strength, but also a testament to his tenacity and unyielding will. The Punisher, though formidable, is no match for these feats. He can pierce through concrete with heavy weapons, punch through thick steel doors, or knock down opponents with a series of precise blows. However, when faced with Spider-Man, his attacks seem ineffective. Imagine a clash in a dark alley, the streetlights flickering. The Punisher fires a barrage of bullets from his machine gun. But Spider-Man, guided by his spider sense, leaps over each bullet, his body hovering in the air like a ghost. A punch from Spider-Man, even if restrained, is enough to send the Punisher flying through a concrete wall, dust flying, the impact sounding like thunder. Meanwhile, the Punisher's blows, while powerful, cannot significantly damage Spider-Man, who can withstand blows from the likes of Rhino or the Thing. One potential advantage of the Punisher is his ruthlessness. He does not hesitate to kill, while Spider-Man often holds back his strength to avoid causing casualties. Imagine the Punisher, with an icy gaze, pulling out a sharp dagger, ready to stab his opponent without hesitation. In contrast, Spider-Man, with his strong morals, always tries to disable his opponent without killing them. However, this ruthlessness is not enough to compensate for the gap in strength and ability. In a long battle, Spider-Man can easily disable the Punisher with webs, binding him before he can react. Imagine Spider-Man shooting webs from both hands, the white threads sticking to the Punisher, wrapping around him like a cocoon, leaving him motionless in the middle of the street, his eyes still burning but unable to do anything more. This confrontation, therefore, clearly favors Spider-Man. Not only is he superior in strength, speed, and intelligence, but he also possesses agility and adaptability far beyond the Punisher. While the Punisher is an excellent human fighter, Spider-Man is a superhuman being, operating on an entirely different level. Picture the final scene. The Punisher lying on the ground, webs wrapped tightly around him, eyes defiant, yet helpless. Spider-Man stands on a lamppost, his red and blue suit glinting in the moonlight, ready to glide into the night, leaving behind a defeated but still honorable warrior. This outcome is not because the Punisher is weak, but because Spider-Man, for all his strength and intelligence, simply cannot be defeated in this fight.